It's now time for
Check, please.
Coming up next on the D1 and Done Pod.
It's time for another episode of Check, please, as we get another midweek check of college basketball. I'm Robbie Donahoe. Nick Mills, Dusty Mills dialed in. This is another episode of Check, please, a part of the D1 and Done Pod. I guess you could say network. That makes us sound really important, but we're really not that big of a deal yet.
Not yet.
Yes, it's going to change at some point. So we're going to get you a midweek check-in of what has happened over the past few days with college basketball after our Monday pod. Before we get into what you might have missed, breaking news coming down within the last hour or so out of Bloomington, Indiana. Men's basketball head coach Mike Woodson not expected to return to Indiana next year, according to sources from ESPN. I believe Jeff Goodman was the first one who reported on it, saying that Woodson was, quote, contemplating retiring, which I thought was a rather interesting usage of words.
I want to say it was Jake Mills was first reported it.
Yeah.
I have, at 12:11 p.m. today, Jake Mills, friend of the pod, our lead journalist, some might even say, our investigative reporter,
oh, good gosh,
would say, quote, rumbles that Woodson might be fired today. He said, and I quote, the message boards are hot today. So yeah, first reported by Jake Mills, our investigative reporter.
Which message boards is he even referring to? Like, what access does he have? Is he on
message boards, Robbie?
Is he on Peaks?
Just giving credit where credit's due.
Absolutely. Jake was definitely the first one to bring it to our attention, so we will definitely give the credit there. But we were, obviously, after he said that around noon today, I did some digging, and there was definitely some whispers around that maybe something was in the works of happening. This is not a surprise to anyone. Maybe the timing of it is a tad bit surprising because it came on a Thursday during February. You maybe thought it would go until the end of the month, but I guess IU wants to try to get out in front of this. So I guess, Dusty, I'll start with you. As a former Division I men's college basketball player, when you get this kind of news, how does this change the way you play as a team? Because we saw Leonard Hamilton and Florida State, like they played great against Notre Dame the other night, obviously got you your lock and won that one. But how does this going to change the trajectory of this IU team for the rest of the year?
I've obviously never been in the situation. I say obviously, like the two coaches I played for, we never heard stuff like this. I think it depends what the players think about the coach. It's like a Leonard Hamilton, I imagine, and probably the same with Woodson. If you came to play for this guy and you realize that things are going sour and you know they're older, maybe you rallied around it. But if it's just like, okay, I'm gonna bring up Gillespie. Like if he said something like this, where in our locker room everyone was against him, and we rallied together to basically play harder to just get him. We wanted him gone. I imagine a locker room like this. It's, hey, we trusted Coach Woodson. We see the writing on the wall. It's in the end. I mean, it's their fault. They've lost 6 or 7.
Yeah.
You would think this could be a rallying cry, and but to not ever be in those shoes, I don't really know how to speak for those players. But I would think if that you've loved your coach, you'd say, okay, let's get him to change his mind. Would be my perception of it. But if it's someone who's just, hey, okay, good. Good riddance, and I guess it's the opposite, and you just tank the rest of the season. Almost like I know he's killing in Houston right now, like the whole Kelvin Sampson thing, same school IU, when all that came to hell and Dockage took over, and those players clearly just bailed on the season. So it can go both ways, but I would say someone like Woodson who, the fact they say high donors are still having his back, that says a lot. That just shows that how much he means to IU, but my guess is it could be a rallying cry. And we'll see.
I think there's still loyalty amongst those older alumni that were with, the Mike Woodson, when he came up through that program and, a part of those. I know Mike Woodson wasn't part of the championship winning teams. He was kind of just smack dab right in the middle of it and didn't hit it. But still, there is loyalty amongst that alumni base from back then that, they want to make sure that this ends the right way. Because right now it's obviously not trending the right way, and it was kind of expected that it was going to end this way. So if Mike Woodson basically retires or leaves at the end of the year, his contract, according to ESPN, calls for him to be paid more than $8 million if he's fired. So it might be different if he retires. I don't know. So $8 million, it seems like a drop in the bucket for IU basketball. I think they can pick that up easily. But so now the attention turns, Nick, to who on earth is IU going to hire? Because I think there's one big name, I guess, I don't know, a couple names that you could throw out there to be in the running, but what is realistic for IU to expect to take over as the head coach if this all goes according to plan?
We have a couple names in mind, but first of all, I just want to get back to the Woodson thing in general. Just because the question has to be asked, first of all, was this Woodson's decision? Or, by the way, we don't know all the answers, okay? It's just reports he might resign, he might retire. Was this his call?
This feels very Scott Dolson. This feels very AD related.
Right. And what do the players know? Because you guys talk about do the players rally. What do the players know? Has he talked to the team?
Yeah.
This is their first day hearing of it. So to me, it's so hard to make of this. And honestly, for the team on the floor, I'm not sure it matters one way or another because they've looked less than inspiring this whole season. So I say all to say this whole thing's just weird that we have no concrete answers and there's just different reports coming out. Now, to your point of who they go get, right? Again, more likely than not, whether it's resignation, firing, retirement, more likely than not, Mike Woodson's not going to coach for 25-26, right? So there's two lines you're thinking. One, Dusty May, and the reason I say his, because I got to look back into this. He has this weird 1-year buyout thing in Michigan that someone mentioned the other day.
I'll look that up while you're talking.
For people don't know, he was student manager at IU.
Yep, under Bob Knight. Yep.
Yeah, so that's always going to be an interesting one. But then again, Michigan is doing quite well under him, so maybe we would not want to do that. And he did not accept the Louisville job because he didn't want the limelight. So, but to me, there's two other big ones that are not in that category, and that is Chris Beard at Ole Miss, and we know the baggage that comes with that. But Chris Beard, he took Texas Tech to the national championship, and they were a consistent winner every year under there. He's turned Ole Miss into a legit basketball program in a year and a half.
Yeah.
And to me, the other one is Shaka Smart at Marquette. Does anyone IU trying to kick the tires on him? Because again, Shaka didn't do great at Texas, but it wasn't a disaster by any means. He never won a tournament game there. They were pretty good almost every year. But Marquette's not it's not the cream of the crop job. So to me, I think Chris Beard would be the first call I make. I would call Shaka. I don't think Shaka Smart would leave. I think Marquette's a good fit. But those would be the names I would call. I think other people throw out guys like Chris Mack, which I think would just be hilarious. Bring him in.
Oh boy.
But those are kind of the names that would come to my head. Or maybe go get Calipari from Arkansas because now he's.
Can I throw one out?
Sure.
Nick, sorry, I had to come back to this. Billy Donovan.
Hey, Brad Stevens. Let's get all the boys back.
Okay, if Brad Stevens, if he even gets brought up, stop it.
No, Brad Stevens is a no, but is Donovan not a ridiculous? They went after him when he was leaving Florida and also leaving the first time.
I don't know of, especially with
how long can you coach the Bulls with them being this bad?
Right, but also he's probably going to try to live off of a buyout as well. And I don't know how many coaches want to leave. We don't see it very often when coaches go from the NBA to college, especially now with just the landscape of recruiting and NIL in general.
Yeah,
this happened with Kentucky last year. They were interested in Donovan, but again, the Bulls made the play-in last year, so they were playing up until, what is that, mid-April?
Yeah.
And so the timing for Kentucky didn't even work out last year because they were trying to hire a coach right away. So maybe the Bulls fire him before that. I think that could be a possibility.
So this buyout that you mentioned, Nick, for Dusty May, it's $5 million. The date of the hire decreases $1 million each year of his contract.
Okay.
So
really, it's not a 1-year thing. Then.
Not necessarily. No.
Gotcha.
So what? I would be very surprised if Dusty May left after just 1 year at Michigan. It doesn't. That doesn't seem like the kind of guy that Dusty May is to just leave a school after 1 year. He seems like he has a little bit more integrity than that. Now, again, I don't know him personally, but I've just been able to kind of just connect the dots a little bit with him and make that assumption. So I think the most logical fit is Chris Beard. I think that one makes the most sense. I just wonder, are you going to pick up that baggage? Do you really want to bring that baggage on into IU? But at this point, I think IU would.
Those fans don't care.
That's what. At this point, I think IU would hire Satan if that means that they could get to the NCAA tournament and win some games.
Well, Hitler's suddenly apparently a good guy. Hire him.
What do you mean apparently? But you know what's nice for IU though in this situation? You never want to be the first school to hire him after the incident is. I think now that they're the second school to do it, I don't think you'll get quite the flack. I think Ole Miss has gotten the blunt of it at this point.
Do you know who would be absolutely perfect for IU in their kind of what they want as a coach? Dusty?
Rick Pitino.
No, but he's kind of along that kind of same line of coaching.
A vampire.
Nice.
I'm trying to think of a sex joke. I'm not going to. I can't.
It would be Will Wade. It would be Will Wade.
Yeah,
Robbie, that's such a good one.
Can you imagine? Like Will Wade is the perfect hire for IU because he's a schmoozer. He brings in big money. Yeah. He's a really good basketball coach.
Yes.
IU, go back up the brink.
Schmoozer.
Yes.
That's really what they want.
That is exact. IU needs a schmoozer. That's why Archie Miller didn't work because he was stuck in his own bubble. It's the reason why Tom Crean didn't work because he got awkward and weird towards the end. They
kiss the sun on the lip.
Woodson's a statue.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
Well, can I throw one more name out?
Sure.
The kind of complete opposite of a smoozer. Someone who's been complaining about their travel schedules here. Someone who's from the Midwest. Mick Cronin?
I don't think Mick Cronin would work at all at IU.
I don't think that would.
That guy's won everywhere he's been.
But I think the old guard would probably love Mick Cronin. I think the new guard would absolutely say no to a coach like that.
I think he would work there. But would he be my
think
first
he would
call?
too.
No. Don't get me wrong. He would not be my first call.
Right.
Yeah,
so, but I feel don't take offense to this. Feels a little like the Kentucky coaching search, where they're gonna try to hit a home run and they're gonna have to settle for a single here or like a ground rule double. Like it doesn't feel like there are all these big names that would come out, whether it's Dusty May or Chris Beard or heck, even throw in a Will Wade. Like those are like big fish. And IU is such a self-contained bubble that I don't know how many coaches really want to go to Bloomington and try to rebuild this program because there is so much pressure to do it, and you have so many hands in the cookie jar trying to make the call on things. Like, inevitably, I wonder how involved Quinn Buckner is going to be this time around for this next hire because he's the reason why Mike Woodson's the head coach there. So, who ends up making the decision? Is Mark Cuban going to be more heavily involved this time? I don't know, but people saying that this is going to be a Scott Dolson hire, you're crazy and you're talking out of your behind because there's too much money floating around IU basketball for it to be only an AD hire. It's going to be who's going to put up the most money and what kind of a guy they want to go get.
Okay, well, I'm going to say two things. Clearly, Cuban has no say in Doncic, so that's out too.
Yeah.
This number two is, since you said a certain word, I want Nick to tell a joke, one of my favorite jokes of all time.
Uh-oh.
There's one word that you cannot say in an angry way.
Bubbles! Bubbles!
Like, can you try to say bubble?
Bubbles!
Bubbles! No, nope, you can't. Can't say bubbles in a mean way.
Great.
I love that. That's great. So we'll obviously keep an eye on it. I'm curious to see how IU will finish the season now. I don't feel confident in the trajectory of this team. And so
really?
I know, shocking, right? They play Michigan at home on Saturday, which is very ironic that Dusty May is going to be in Bloomington, where there could be a head coach opening soon in Bloomington. But IU, if you really want to go full on tank, the opportunity is there to fall into the bottom three of the Big Ten. They're only a game out of 16th place right now. So if you really want to go full on suck and just give up the season, the opportunity is there. But I think there's too much pride for that program. There's too much pride for that team and university for it to fall completely flat on their face like this. I will be fascinated to see what kind of IU team shows up Saturday. And I wonder if it's going to be a team kind of like how Florida State was, that they actually do have a little bit of pride for the name on their chest and what they're going to do coming up Saturday.
Robbie, they were down 26-4 on Tuesday. Like,
hey, Wisconsin's a juggernaut. Wisconsin is a juggernaut, okay? We have to deal with it. They are an offensive juggernaut, but also IU
has not. We're going to say this has not won at
Wisconsin
since 2000.
Yeah, they've lost their last 22 trips to the Kohl Center, so that was made to be a blowout. It was. You got to flush that one. So it will be interesting to follow and see what goes on next for IU. I would be shocked for next year. So let's look at the. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Their top 9 players, I bet, won't be there next year. That includes Umar Ballo, Mackenzie Mbako, Malik Renew, Miles Rice, Luke Goody, Trey Galloway, Bryson Tucker, Kanan Carlisle, Anthony Leal. I bet none of those guys are back next year.
Which could be a good thing, honestly.
It could be. I mean, again, it's shocking to me that Luke Goody and Trey Galloway do not start on that team. Like, they've got way too much money tied up into the guys that are not playing well for them, and the two Indiana kids that are actually playing hard. Anthony Leal as well. He's starting to play more. Those are the guys that are playing the hardest and giving the most effort. So, well, there you go. It's, man, what a time would be. What a time it is to be just an IU sports fan in general. You grew up as a basketball fan, and you've turned into a football school, and what a weird world we live in, friends.
Google it.
Google it. All right. Let's actually get to the college basketball that occurred over the last 3 weeks. Dusty is playing around with his emojis on Zoom right now as we see some rockets in the air. I guess I'll start with Mr. Emoji there. Dusty, your game that you want to recap in the past few days.
I like that, Robbie. It's like the kid not paying attention in class. You call on him. I like that, Robbie.
There you go.
I do that often, by the way.
Great roll. St. John's Marquette.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
wow.
you took mine.
Oh, well, you better filibuster real quick. St. John's 70-64 win. Their best start since 1985-86. None of us were born for that. At that time, Brian Mills was spry 26 and making love to Kathy to produce my older brother. The crazy part about this game is St. John's was 3 of 16 from 3, 17 of 31 from free throw line, but out rebounded Marquette 50-28, which is, I mean, this team can play defense, and they had 3 players with 10+ rebounds. So,
jeez,
I don't think this wins in the tournament, but
I don't know, man.
I mean, you talk about just all these. Think about all the upsets we talked about. Let's go to I think we talked about this last week. That Kentucky John Wall team, and if you have a bad shooting night and you don't adapt, and they're just rebounding the hell out of you and getting just layups. I mean, this is a team that I'm going to say I cannot believe I'm saying this because I have Final Four caliber at this point for St. John's.
Yeah.
They're a team no one wants to play. And they play the most Rick Pitino style where they're just up in your face all the time. They know how to box out, which I feel like no one in college basketball, especially Kentucky, doesn't know how to box out. Wow. They are they're great to watch. So held off Marquette. Marquette made a run at the end, and sadly Marquette's kind of like Kentucky on the downfall right now.
Yeah.
So that was the game I thought of, was St. John's Marquette. Sorry, Nick, that I stole that. I'll let Robbie go to his and let you find another one.
Well, I was going to mention St. John's had 21 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
21.
Yeah, so 21 with the 50. 21 with the 50. That's even, gosh.
How often do you see a team in this day and age in college basketball that shoots 3 for 16 from 3, 17 for 31 from the free throw line, and still, like, they were in control.
Be in the game.
Yeah.
Be in the game.
Be in the game, but 2, like, they were in control of the game. Even when it got close at the end, you never really felt like it was getting away from them.
Even down the stretch, they were missing all those free throws because Pitino had that quote afterwards where he was asked about missing all the free throws. He's like, we'll make them next time.
Yeah. Then that's what I think that's the scariest part about St. John's is they're going to have a bad game and they can still beat almost anyone. That's nuts.
And then Patino goes back in his casket and comes out for the next game. So.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Well, I'm disappointed none of you wanted to talk Kentucky Ole Miss.
I got no game to talk.
The Matthew Murrell God game, 6 for 11 from 3. The dude shoots 31% from 3-point range this year. And, of course, Ole Miss, which hasn't scored 90 in 3 months, puts up 98 on Kentucky. This game did not make any sense whatsoever. Just watching it was like, what Ole Miss team is this? And I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a larger indictment on what kind of Kentucky has become a little is they bring the best out of teams and I mean, they just sit back and let it happen. And Ole Miss played very well. That part is not surprising. It's the fact that this game was a 20-plus point game for almost 25 to 30 minutes of game time.
They're now 27 a minute into the second half.
Golly, I mean, what the hell is going on? Like, this is is it just defense? Is it okay? So it's simple as that.
Yeah, they can't play much defense. They can't. The on-ball defense is atrocious. They need Lamont Butler so badly, but even with him, it's not going to fix everything. Again, do I think they've gone through a bad stretch? Remember earlier I was talking about how lucky they were as the 3-point defense? I think that's now shifted on them because Ole Miss and Arkansas shot out the rear ends. I believe they both hit 13 threes in their 2 games. And again, you got an Ole Miss team that had lost 4 or 5. And an Arkansas team who due for a win. So maybe you just caught 2 teams that are at a bad time. Yeah, Kentucky's lost 4 or 5 now. Ansley Alomar and Trent Noah had 2 trillions.
That's, a 15 trillion and a 13 trillion. That's impressive.
So had 2 13-plus trillions and a 7-footer with a triple-double. That was Kentucky's night on Tuesday night. Shout out Maury Williams. He's been the only guy. Jackson's brought as well recently.
Otega Owe played pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, again, it does not matter. You can't play defense. It does not matter whatsoever.
Well, and Amar's become a baller. I will say that.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's been playing well. They get South Carolina home Saturday. It's a must-win. And, again, on the Ole Miss side of it, they had been playing poorly. I think they're due for a good shooting night, and they kicked the crap out of Kentucky. Made a little run at the end, but, not good. Me ouch.
Me ouch. That's the best way to put it. So, I mean, this has been a tough stretch for Kentucky. Alabama, A&M, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Ole Miss. It's been tough. It starts to lighten up just a touch. You get South Carolina at home coming up Saturday, and then Tennessee after that. Then you go to Texas, Vandy at home. So there's some opportunity here to bounce back. But is this something that Kentucky can just fix overnight, or are they just going to have to outscore teams to win? Is that their only chance?
I wouldn't say fix overnight. I mean, well, I'll say this. They should obviously beat South Carolina Saturday.
You better hope, yeah.
Well, if they lose that, we're having a whole different conversation now.
Yeah. So let's just leave it there. I trust Pope. I think long-term Pope is going to have the right people. I mean, this isn't, again, it's the NCAA tournament, so you never know who the hell's going to win it, right? They could win the national title. They could lose in the first round this year. And for me, I don't care. I trust Pope. And I feel like now that he has the resources, I would say, and the where he's at now, he can get the right people to help with defense. Because as we've discussed in the past, his teams don't play defense.
Yeah.
So I think just having a year where hopefully they can maybe make it, maybe a second weekend run would be awesome. Just give excitement, and then just take us. I mean, we also have to remember that when this guy took the job, he didn't have a roster.
Right.
Yeah, that's the point I want to make. This, remember coming into the season, they were a fringe top 25 team. This was supposed to be the year one expectations, and everything got flipped on a dime when he got all these big wins. So, to me, this is not some long-term issue about Pope. This is what I thought year one was going to be about, some up and downs with it.
Again,
to answer your question real quick, Robbie, and then I'll let you go. It's not an overnight thing. Go beat South Carolina on Saturday, and then take a deep breath. Give the players off Monday. I think they play next Wednesday. Tuesday, get back and just say, okay, let's focus on this. I wish he would implement more zone than he does. I know we're talking too deep about Kentucky right now. But But no, it's not an overnight fix.
They overachieved to start the season. Let's be honest.
Correct.
And that then inflated the expectations. Them and Illinois feel very similar on their trajectory right now, where they overachieved to start the season, and now they're kind of coming back down to earth, playing tough teams, playing road games, and they're young teams. They don't know how to play with each other because they haven't played with each other before. So you're going through these difficult times, and it's hard to be able to continue to stay with it and win when you just continue to have these rough patches. So Kentucky's going to be fine. They're still immensely talented, and as you mentioned, they need Lamont Butler back in the worst way. I found a crazy stat that I mentioned in our text thread, and I want to pass it along to everyone listening. They're in the top 40 in KenPom. There are two teams that are outside the top 100 in defensive efficiency rating. Kentucky is one of them, not surprising. The shocking one is UConn, rated outside of the top 100 in defensive efficiency rating on KenPom. So I guess Kentucky and UConn can, connect and correlate with one another and, set their sights on March and see what happens.
Crazy. Dan Hurley team's outside top 100
right?
defense. Crazy.
Wild. Nick, is there a game that you want to quickly jump into then?
Yeah, I watched this full game. UCLA beat Michigan State 63-61. Again, I don't I watched this whole game, so I don't like the inside stuff. But UCLA, Michigan State are kind of going in different directions a little bit. UCLA had that rough patch about early January. Sky Clark was a swift 3 of 10 from the field, but he made the winning plays towards the end to get the dub.
He's always been weird.
Michigan State now lost 2 in a row. By the way, the LA schools are not kind of Michigan State, and like we mentioned with them, Robbie, the schedule gets really tough. They got Oregon, IU, Illinois, Purdue, Michigan, Maryland, Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan in the year. So it could just be a weird West Coast trip for them, or this could be a sign of things to come. I still believe in Michigan State, but not sure they're a top 10 team that we thought they once were. And good on UCLA. It looked bad there for a while, and our boy Mick Cronin is trying to figure it out a little bit.
But what I didn't understand at the end of that game, Michigan State is not a three-point shooting team. And they're down 2 with 10 seconds left, and Jaden Akins comes down and fires a 3? What are we doing here? Like, that's the play we drew up?
That's what Jaden Akins does. It's funny, some Michigan State fan called it 5 minutes earlier. It says this game's going to end with an awful Jaden Akins 3, and Lord behold, that's what happens. So
it is legitimately crazy to see Jaden Akins' percentages from his freshman year on. He was shooting 38% from 3 as a freshman, 42% as a sophomore, and jumped up to about 10 points per game. Junior season last year, 36% from 3. This year, he's at 29% from 3. That in Michigan State, as has been mentioned, is not a good three-point shooting team. So why do you shoot 22 threes in a game when you're not a good three-point shooting team? That makes zero sense. So
YOLO, Robbie.
I guess.
You're in LA, you might as well shoot for the stars, right?
I guess. Yeah. But this is, UCLA is a team, and that's why I was surprised that they went through a rough patch. UCLA is most equipped to play in the Big Ten. They got that gritty, tough, physical style of play. Oregon was the same way, so that's why I'm a little surprised that Oregon has fallen off a little bit, but they haven't been as physical lately. But we all said it. When this tough part of the schedule comes in, we'll see what Michigan State responds with. Well, Illinois didn't have any problems winning on the West Coast. Purdue didn't have any problems winning on the West Coast. Michigan State can't. So it's fascinating how it's all gone. But before this West Coast trip, Michigan State had played one team in the top 8 of the Big Ten, and that was Illinois. Now they have played 2 more teams in the top 8 outside of USC, and they got 2 more losses.
Are you calling them IU football, Robbie? Is that what you're calling them? Remember IU football didn't play like the top half of the Big Ten.
Yeah, I guess, but we all fell in love with Michigan State being back, and I've been watching them all year. I'm like, this is a good team. This is not a top 10 team, and they are showing it. They're a good team. They're not a great team. Anyone who thought that they were a Final Four caliber team, you're out of your mind. They're a solid Sweet 16 team. They are not a Final Four team. They just aren't.
Why not?
No, they're not a Final Four team.
What do you mean? Ram teams make the Final Four every year.
They are a worse version than St. John's.
I know that's why we've said this, Robbie. That's why I hate that line all the time.
Yeah, I know. I understand. I get it.
Do you think NC State and
Final Four favorite? They'd not be one of the 10 betting favorites in your opinion to make the Final Four.
Yeah.
No,
Robbie,
definitely not.
Leave the cast.
Hey, but Robbie, have you not checked the calendar? Do you not know how it works?
Oh, you don't need to tell me how it works. I get it. They're gonna win. They're gonna win their first game in the tournament. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, here we go! January, February is and everyone's gonna fall in love with Michigan State again. And then they're gonna lose their round of 32 game to Clemson.
No, see, that's what I want though. I want the prediction like that. I don't want to hear they're not caliber. I want to hear Robbie saying they're going to get slashed by St. Mary's in the Sweet 16.
They're going to lose in the round of 32. This is what they do. And Michigan State, for some reason, has the most. I don't know what it is, but anytime they get to be good, everyone falls in love with Izzo and Michigan State again. Like they have not had a good team in 5 years. So I don't know why we've all just, fawned at the mouth of whatever Izzo is going to do. So this is a good Michigan State team, one of the better ones they've had in the last 5 years. This is not a great Michigan State team, and you're going to see it in March. And come back to this moment at 6:44 p.m. Eastern Time on February 6th, year of our Lord 2025, and I will tell you I told you so. So if that ever gets to that point, let me know.
They make the second weekend.
Wait, what?
They make the second weekend.
No, they're not making the second weekend.
$5.
Well, let's not put what do you want to put on it then?
Turkey costume?
I can't fit into that thing.
Touche. Birthday suits?
That can mean many things, so that's no.
Off air. We'll figure something out.
Okay, we'll figure something out, and we'll figure it out. But
okay, so you're talking about falling on mouths. I've fallen on plenty in my life. With that said, I want to talk about my performance of the week.
Ooh, good transition, Crab.
Yeah, usually I'm the one that does that, but please go ahead.
Chase Walker, Illinois State.
Oh,
had 31-9 and went over my UI Chicago Flames.
That's right. UIC losing at home. Jeez.
Yep. So both 7-6. And I just want to talk about the MVC real quick as I do this.
Yeah.
Drake, who I actually kind of crapped on when they started, they've now won 9 straight. But after that,
Drake.
Yeah, they're 8 teams with 3 games in the MVC with seven games left going into the weekend.
Ben McCollum is going to be a hot name on coaching boards on coaching boards this offseason. Like he's basically turned a team that was struggling into a favorite to win the Valley. So yeah, big deal.
Yeah. So, but Chase Walker, shout out. I'm sure a fan of the show. 31-9, great win for Illinois State. Flames will get it back, and Flames I feel like are going to win the MVC at some point.
Whoa! Hold on.
Maybe not this year. At some point.
What a call.
40 years from now, Dusty Mills. UIC's going to win the MVC.
I mean, not less than 40 years, but I think UIC will. That'll be the next thing is who lasts longer, UIC not winning the MVC or Dusty living.
It'd be interesting to see if you or I see that one day.
Hey! All right, my performance of the week goes to none other than the high knees ref, Jeff Anderson. Did everyone see this?
Oh, yeah.
He played some great defense in the Rutgers-Illinois game last night where he literally got between Ace Bailey, and I can't remember who the Illinois defender was at the time.
I didn't know this was him. I saw the clip.
This was him. Now, how did he get put in this position? He wasn't out of bounds on the inline. I don't know, but go look it up. Jeffrey Anderson literally got between and played defense for Ace, or set a screen for Ace Bailey. It was incredible.
He boxed him out.
Yeah, he boxed him out. So, and what was even better is Ace got the basket. It was, hold on. I know who it was now. So it was, in that moment, it was funny because, what was it? It was Merez Johnson. Merez Johnson was the one who was defending Ace Bailey, and then Merez looks up like, "You're counting that? You're really gonna let that stand?" It was. I've never seen anything like it in all my years of watching basketball. So, Jeffrey Anderson, The knees are high, the vibes are high, the defensive stance is even higher. Well done, my friend.
He is high.
Robbie, even when Ace Bailey's being double teamed with the ref, he still won't pass
Still
the ball.
scores, and he won't pass it. He had 2 assists last night. Unacceptable, Ace.
Unacceptable.
Too many assists. Crazy.
Keep the rock, Ace.
Yeah. Dylan Harper was great last night, though. Had 28. I'll mention him. And then I will make a slight reminder to all of you that Braden Smith, player of the year.
I was really about to say if it's Braden Smith. Nick, you're up. Go ahead.
He had 31 points.
And they needed it, too.
Yeah, they did, because Iowa was shooting it out of their behind. But
I will
that's
say
what they
real
do.
quick before Nick goes, good win for Purdue. That is a good win.
Solid win. Yes.
I'm not being smart ass.
No, I didn't think you were. Yeah, we've talked enough Purdue after my rant on Monday, so we can move on. So, Nick, your performance to highlight.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I just want to say this from the start. I love doing the pod with you guys. I really do. I love we do this twice a week, but you guys have an obvious flaw on this show, and that is you don't respect Nathan George. You guys Robbie's too busy ranting about Purdue. Dusty's looking up white guys from the 1940s, and I'm over here respecting Nathan George from Georgia Tech. Okay, because on Tuesday night the Yellow Jackets went into Little John.
That's right.
Right, got the triple overtime win, 89-86, because of who? Nathan George, with an I in Nathan, by the way. That's how you know he's Canadian. I love his stat line. 28 points, 2 of 10 from 3. He played all 55 minutes. He had 8 turnovers in the game, but he came and got the dub for the Yellow Jackets. Nathan George is averaging 21-7 in his last 3 games, including 2 wins over Clemson in Little John and the Louisville Cardinals on Saturday. They are buzzing in Atlanta because of who? Nathan George.
Yeah!
Nathan George.
Is Georgia Tech going to be this year's NC State? They're getting hot.
They are.
They've won 3 of 4. They just beat 2 of the top 3 teams in the ACC. And I don't know if you knew this. Did you know that Georgia Tech has Dikembe Mutombo's son on the team?
I did not.
Ryan Mutombo, 7'2" senior from Atlanta. He is on the team.
Very African name.
Yeah,
Ryan.
Ryan.
So,
But
Yellow Jackets. Shout everyone on that team.
Shout Nathan Georgia Tech.
Nathan Georgia Tech.
Oh, I love that. He played all 55 minutes of that game.
Yes,
3
like I said,
overtimes. Can you believe that?
Just like a Yellow Jacket would, though.
Right. Not giving up, continuing to fly fast and sting hard.
He may not have a stinger today, but he did last night.
He probably does on his shoulders from carrying the team, to be honest with you. All right.
You guys know who the coach of Georgia Tech is real quick?
It's not Josh Pastner, so I don't know.
It is former NBAer Damon Stoudemire.
Oh, I forgot Damon Stoudemire's there now. Jeez.
So, yeah.
Long-time Trailblazer.
Yeah. OG Toronto Raptor.
Pippen got there from the Bulls to the Rockets to the Blazers.
Yeah.
Rasheed Wallace was on that team too. That's a good Blazer.
The Jailblazers, shout out.
The Jailblazers. So was Steve Smith. That was the team that should have beaten the Lakers in that Western Conference Finals.
Correct.
Just that famous clip of Shaq in the alley-oop dunk.
Yep, that was it. Dusty, are you going to preview St. John's UConn? I hope you are.
So it's funny. I have 2. You can see, because for those that are listening, we are on video now. So I have. Let me try to do this. I have.
Oh, you have the MAC SBC challenge on there, though.
I do. Number 1 says St. John's UConn. Number 2 is MAC Sunbelt Challenge. Part 2 is this weekend. So I wasn't just going to be lazy with that. I was going to give you 3 matchups that I want to talk about.
Okay, that's fine.
1, Arkansas State versus Akron.
That's a good game.
Akron's 10-0, 17-5 overall. Playing degenerates, if you want to listen to this and find out, I'm sure it's on ESPN Plus. Every game this weekend's in the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
So the prior one is all in the MAC. So Akron at Arkansas State. Like I said, Akron 10-0, 17-5 overall. Arkansas State 9-3 in the conference, 18-6 overall. We have Miami of Ohio, who's 9-1 in the MAC, also 17-5 overall. At Appalachian State, 14-9, 8-4 in the conference. And then, of course, I had to give a shout to our State team, who once again is battling to be 500 once again. 4-6 in the conference, 10-12 overall, which is perfect. They're at Georgia State, who's 5-7 in the conference, 9-15 overall. I talked about the MVC being close. The Sun Belt. Arkansas State, if you include them at 9-3, there are 12 teams within 4 games of each other.
Ooh.
With 4 weeks left. If you take them out, there's 11 teams left, or that close within 3 games.
Dang.
So, yeah, if you guys, again, conference-wise, that means nothing. But yeah, if you guys get bored this weekend, have a third TV, Max Sunbelt Challenge going on this weekend.
Fantastic.
Well, Dusty, your point about the Sunbelt being closed, remember the Sunbelt bracket this year is like every seed has a bye.
Yeah.
It's like the one seed, 2 seeds have like a quintuple bye. Correct. So those seeding very much matters in that conference.
That's what to follow coming on Monday. I'll give us a Sunbelt update.
Fantastic. People forget that Arkansas State, remember, has a win over Memphis.
At Memphis, too.
Yeah, at Memphis, one of the more impressive wins of the year. So that Arkansas State team is pretty solid. So Sunbelt's been playing some good basketball, for sure. And so is the MAC. Miami, Ohio, and Akron have both been great this year. So that'll be fun to watch. Keep an eye on those games. The game I'm going to preview real quick, Texas Tech at Arizona, Saturday night, 10:30 in Tucson. It's going to be a great game. And don't look now, but the Big 12 is completely up for grabs now because that loss by Houston has kind of opened things up a little bit because everyone thought Houston was just going to run away with it. Well, now you have Arizona and Texas Tech. Arizona's tied with Houston at the top of the conference. Texas Tech within a game. Things in Iowa State and Kansas have fallen off. It's anyone's game now. So it's going to be fun to keep an eye on this conference at the end. I'm fascinated to see how Arizona's going to play at home after they've just been rolling everyone lately. Got a good win at BYU this week. So I cannot wait for this game. It's going to be awesome. And we'll see. I mean, Texas Tech was a team that I ranked inside of my top 5 this week. That win at Baylor, or the win at Houston, was great. Followed it up with a home win against Baylor where they looked pretty impressive overall. I mean, Chance McMillan has been fantastic for this team lately. He's been awesome. So they're a deep team. They seem to work well. So I like Texas Tech in this game, but I cannot wait to watch it. Nick, your game to watch for the weekend.
3 of them real quick, too, kind of like Dusty. The obvious one to me, Florida at Auburn, massive at 4 o'clock.
Yep.
Got bumped to ESPN2 because our Pacers are facing Luka Doncic in LA at 4 o'clock on ESPN, so shout out to that. Robbie, I had Texas Tech Zona as well. That's a great one. Another sneaky one's Bama, Arkansas. Can Arkansas keep it going this weekend?
Arkansas looked great at Texas last night. They looked great.
And then the last one, 5:30 on a CW. Nathan George is at Virginia, so check that one out as well. The Nathan George game, shout out.
I sent a picture to you guys, but what Pitt? What has happened to Pitt? Like they went Virginia on Virginia. They had 8 points with 7 minutes to go in the first half of that game.
I thought you were going to say that you sent us your Pitt.
Why do you always have to make things weird? Just keep it normal. You guys are.
I didn't say anything.
Well, usually you were the one who brought up Hitler earlier.
I know that was him. Don't put that on me.
I blame you for that. Still,
his birthday's April 20th. Did you know that?
I don't care. Why do you know that?
From Family Guy of all things.
All right. Before we get canceled, it's probably a good opportunity for us to end the pod.
No, I actually have 2 actually pretty cool things. One is about me and one's about a text I just got. I'm not kidding.
Okay.
So one is, Nick knows this because he was in a text about it. I'm really excited. I got invited on March 1st, the Kentucky-Auburn game. I'm invited to go to a basketball alumni event.
Nice.
So hoping that we can get some stuff from that.
That'd be great.
And keep talking to former basketball players about being on this pod, which I have momentum about that during the summer.
Just wear a shirt that says, listen to D1 and done. That's all you, just wear a shirt that says that.
I'm very confident on 3 of my former teammates as already.
Fantastic.
Finally. Number 2 is I just got this text 4 minutes ago about the Mike Woodson situation.
Oh, boy.
Someone that I know, and I'm in a group chat with 2 people, or 3 of us, and one sent the text from or the tweet from Jeff Goodman, and the other guy is I would say a decently high donor, and he says, "Yay, I'm glad that my payment was worth it."
Oh,
so I can't say names obviously.
No, don't say names.
Yeah, but I got that as we were talking about games to look at this weekend. So
the check is in the mail. It sounds like.
Yeah. So there you go. That great way to send it off, Rob.
Yeah, I love it. Fantastic way to finish it up.
Literally just happened 4 minutes ago when I was waiting for the right time to pull it up.
Nick, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I just have a shout out as well.
Okay.
Let me get this. Yeah, my shout out. I just got this one too. My shout out is to Twitter fingers because Kevin Durant just had a hilarious tweet he just tweeted out. Kendrick Perkins said today that he was the real leader of the Thunder, like back with the KD Westbrook Thunder.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you his whole quote. That was the gist of it. Kevin Durant just quote tweeted and said, and I quote, "I know this may be a reach, but this comment is by far the craziest I've seen this week." Close quote. So shout out Kevin Durant. And shout out, speaking of Twitter figures, shout out Drake, the rapper. It's a rough week.
R.I.P. Sunday, Drake.
The Super Bowl halftime show is going to be rough for him. God bless Drake.
Do you have to give Super Bowl predictions, or do we do that?
Yeah, give a quick Super Bowl prediction. Eagles win. I think the Eagles are going to win.
Okay.
I guess I should give a score, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
I'll go 27-24. Eagles. Dusty?
I'll go 12-10 Patriots.
I hate you.
You can't bring up the Super Bowl and then not give a prediction.
All right, I can't. You can't bet against Mahomes. I'll go 24-14 Chiefs.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Chiefs, Pete. I'm probably one of the few people rooting for them. Give me Chiefs. Give me a weird score. Give me Chiefs 25, Eagles 19.
I'll even make a hotter take. Saquon Barkley, Super Bowl MVP.
That's that hot of a take, but yeah.
Lane Johnson, Super Bowl MVP. How about that for a hot take? He catches a touchdown.
Donovan McNabb, Super Bowl MVP.
Oh, how about this? If the Chiefs win, does Kelsey propose after the game?
Ooh.
And retires and proposes?
I assume that's a prop bet that you can probably put some money on. Yeah, that's a good question. I would say no. I don't think he's that kind of person. I think he's going to do it like at some, fancy resort in the Bahamas or something.
Or does she propose? Well, on you.
That would be. I mean, it is 2025. Things, we can do things however you want to.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And tails.
All right, well, guys, this has been great. I'm a bachelor this week, so I'm gonna go make my pizza in the oven, and you guys finish off the rest of the podcast.
What the hell is that? You just hanging up?
The show is over. We've gone check, please, and we're ready to go into the weekend. So you guys enjoy the college basketball. We'll see you on the Monday pod on the D1 and Done pod.